Hello everyone, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of my channel is called Inked Paper Art, and today's video is for day 66. I'm sorry my video is late again today. We are going to talk about using our scraps to do page embellishment in a journal. So this can be a video for people who have a journal that they're currently working in, either one that they're making or one that they actually use as their daily journal. And so we're going to go through the journal and we're going to find a spot where there just needs to be some more embellishing. So this is a work in progress journal. It's nearly completed, but there are some pages that need a little more embellishing. I have other work to do in here as well. But what we do is we flip through the pages and we find a page that, you know, it has too much open space. Like this one right here is a good example. I could leave this as it is totally. It would be fine. But you also see that there is an awful lot of open space up here. Maybe you could do a little page embellishing in this area. So flip through your journal if you're making one. Look for a page like even this one. There's a little bit of, too much open space on this. Now you don't want to fill in every single page because you do want people to be able to work in their own journal. But if you notice that there could, use a little more embellishing somewhere here or there, then let's go ahead and talk about that. So as I flip through these pages, I'm kind of pointing out where there is, a place to decorate. You could do a little stenciling or a little stamping. You could use a page punch edger thing, an edge punch, and punch the edges of pages. In this one where, it's got decorative paper on one side and ivory paper on the other, you could do a little stenciling or something on there. It's not white. I'm not worried about it. But here, you can see where there is places to write, but maybe there's also a little place to do a little embellishing. So this is where we're going to start, and we're going to add some little embellishments up in this area, leaving the rest of this open as writing space. It's okay to do some embellishing as long as you balance it out with writing space. And I want to point out that I'm keeping my embellishments to the top half of the journal. The bottom half of the journal is very full because it has all the pockets and whatever embellishments are in there, but the top part needs a little more to fluff it out. It's got too much space up here and it's too fluffy down here. So we're going to add some page embellishments right up in here. So I'm going to use scraps. We've made 1 million scraps in this project. So I'm going to set this journal somewhere. My desk is very full at the moment. I'm going to set the journal up here and we're going to look at scraps. So I have a ton of scraps. Not all of it is scraps, but there is a lot of scraps in here. And we're just going to pick out some little pieces and we're going to glue them together in a pleasing way and just start working with them. So here's a tiny little page. Let's go ahead and tear that off. And we're going to start there. This is a little piece of tissue paper. Okay, we have a little piece of tissue paper. Maybe that's too much tissue, so we'll tear that one off. And I'm leaving them just, just rough torn. And we're just going to start making basically a cluster down here in the bottom. You could use coffee dyed paper for color. So coffee dyed paper has awesome color and warmth. And so you can put kind of some of that in there, getting it to fluff out there. So we're working. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble it here in my hand. And then from there, we're going to talk about putting it on the page. So I've got something a little pretty there. We could add some ledger if we wanted. I don't know that we need ledger in this little cluster. Let's see what else we do need. Maybe some music paper. Music paper would be good. There's a little corner of music paper here. Let's see how we can get that layered in, if we can get it layered in and not lose too much. Let's look at this side. And so you're just kind of assembling this little cluster up in the air in your hand. That looks pretty good to me. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tiny attacher. I like the tiny attacher for clusters, and I'm going to put the staple underneath that little paper doily, and then I'm going to glue that little paper doily down to where it covers the staple that's in there. The staple is right here, and I'm going to cover it. And so here's our journal. We're going to be putting this up here in this corner. It's okay if it hangs off the page a little bit. It's okay. It's supposed to be a little ratty, worn, that kind of look. And so now we're just going to glue down that back piece. And that's also why I used the coffee dyed paper, is because it's sturdy. And we're going to glue it pretty good. And then we're going to add a little bit of glue on that doily once we get this glued down. And so we're just kind of placing it up there right at the top of the page, kind of give it a little press, get it glued down. And so these ones we want to flap around. The other ones we just glued down the very last page, the very back piece. And then I'm just going to add some glue around the staple and up here at the top and around the little tiny bit of the doily, the little edge of the doily. And we're just going to glue that on. And so there's a little page embellishment. And so you're going to work through your journal, finding those open spaces and kind of embellish them this way. In the very next video after this one, number 67, we're going to talk about a different way to do some page embellishing. Now, if this piece is too square right here, I'm going to leave mine. I kind of like it. But if this is too square for you, feel free to tear it. If you don't like hanging off the edge, feel free to tear that. I'm just going to leave it a little smaller because I don't want it to get torn, but we've torn off the corner of it. And so you're just going to continue to work through. You could do one up in here. I try to do them where there isn't a pocket on the back. So here is okay, but we do have a nice big focal point, so I'm not going to worry about that one. We've got a lot of decoration in here. Now you could do something up here, but I like this big lacy piece, so I'm going to leave it. Here's a good example. You could do something very small up here, but I'm going to leave this one as well. I find ones that really have an open space. Like this is a good one up here at the top. We're going to have this little flip over thing, but this is a good one to do a little collaging on. It doesn't have a pocket or anything on the back side of it. So let's go ahead and work here next. And so we're just going to kind of assemble a little bit. Don't want to do the same thing. So maybe this one, I see some of this antique Japanese paper down here. Let's kind of tear a piece of that. And so we'll start working with this. And then I see we've got some dictionary back here. So let's go ahead and take some of this. I like this rewrite word. I can't even say it. Rewrite word. I don't know how to get that in there, but we'll work on it. Maybe I need to just lose that part of it. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so there's that. And then from there, let's add some music. I don't want to do the same music that we just used. I do like to keep them different. And so I've got this little really scrappy little piece. Let's see if we can get that in there. It's super scrappy. It doesn't even have to go the right direction. It can go all crazy. Your words can be upside down. It doesn't really matter. I actually like the whiter music. Let's kind of rough tear this one. That was a perfect little tear. And now we can get that in the back and take this one out. And I'm varying color. If you notice, everything was cream in color, and I took that cream music out and I put the white music in. It just flows better for me. And so there's that. I am going to add some coffee dyed paper back there in the back. This one's getting pretty big. I don't mind it as big as that. On that page, it probably will work. And so that's what we have. I really like that little bit. We need something decorative up here in the top. Let's find something else. We have some little French handwriting. We have a little piece of French ledger. I don't want to cover up the rewrite, which is kind of giving me a little bit of a problem, but I'll find it. We'll figure it out. Let's do some, I know we have dictionary already. Goodness, what am I going to put in there? Well, I guess I don't want to use doily. Let's going to put ledger in there. Let's put a little bit of ledger number. And let's get that kind of, I don't know where, but somewhere in there. I'm going to tear off this white edge. And we're going to get that right up there. The rewrite is just going to get bumped up. And there we go. So this is where I'm going to leave this one. And I'm going to staple it underneath my top element so that my top element can cover the staple. So I've stapled it together. This is going to go here, and I'm going to tear off the top of this piece. And there we go. There's our little embellishment. You could move this over and up, but I do like to see the whole word and the little black bar there. So that's what we're going to do. And now we're going to take this and we're going to put it on our page. right like that. And so they can still lift it up. They could even journal on the little, you know, coffee dyed scrap, whatever they want to do there. And so we're going to put this ledger on first, and then I'll glue the whole thing this time. And I like to put the glue right around the staple, a little extra, and then I'll just quickly put some at the top of this one. I don't have to glue the whole entire thing down. The doily I did like to glue down because it's just so fragile. I like to glue all around the doily piece, but this little piece can flop. And then we're going to glue just the top part where the staple is here on this one. That way they can lift it up a little more. And so you just add enough glue to secure it to your page, getting it right up there at the top of my page. And there we go. There's that one. So there's just scrappy little bits now, you know, throughout the journal. And this is going to get paper clipped on. And now we come to this page where it is pretty plain and pretty open. I do still need to trim off the excess lace on these, but there's no pocket over here. So we can go ahead and add a little embellishment here. I think that would be good. Now we just did one here and we just did one up here. So it might be a little bit much to add the same kind of cluster right here. So this time let's add a little bit of lace into our cluster. Maybe even a little fabric cluster would be good right here. I do have some offcuts of fabric laying right here next to me. And so we could take a little piece of this ticking cloth. This is actually a great piece for like a spine of a journal card or of even a journal. And it's also good for the tops of tags, like little tab pull for the tops of tags. I do have some eyelet right here that's looking pretty good to me. Let's cut off a piece of eyelet. This one is available in my Etsy store if I'm not mistaken. And so some of this lace that I use, a lot of it, is available in my Etsy store. My Etsy store is linked in the description box below the video. For those of you looking for lace, let's kind of make it a little wider. So we'll work with that as a base layer. And then I know that there are a couple little scraps of fabric, lacy bits. So there's that one. And then we had some offcuts the other day that looked like this, just little offcuts of lace. So there's that. And then something to warm up this page. It's very white and creamy. And here's a piece of gold lace. And let's just kind of make a little fabric cluster. And I did a whole series of videos on fabric clusters and paper clusters. And if you're interested more about how to build these clusters and to build yourself a supply box, those videos were part of the Friday night classes. So if you look on my channel under the live section, you'll probably see them. And so for these, normally I would like to sew this, but we don't have a sewing machine in this room because it's not my craft room. So I'm going to go ahead and staple the fabric. And when I staple fabric, I do staple it twice and I put the staples across each other. And so there's that stapled on. Now I will cover up that staple. And if you notice, this little piece is the same length as my gold. And so I'm just going to come in and rough kind of cut that just to see the, you know, cute little bottom down here. And so we have that little fabric cluster done and something to embellish over top of my staple. I need to dig for, oh, hopefully I have it in here. Well, I don't see a little doily is what I was looking for. They're actually in a different bin, but I do have some little tatting. So let's take a tiny piece of this tatting off. I love using tatting in journals. I have a massive amount of tatting pieces. I've been hoarding them for a very long time. So for this piece of tatting, you know, it's not really, you know, it's not really what I was looking for in color. So we're going to need to add one more layer and then the tatting. And I really would like that paper, or not paper doily, that crochet doily look. And I'm just digging through here one more time. Apparently I do not have any at all next to me. Let me pause this video and grab a doily. So this is what I was looking for, is my bag of little doily bits. And so these are great for covering up staples and that kind of thing. And there's just a million little pieces in here, little tiny parts of doilies. And so that's what I'm going to use up there at the top. That one's actually just a little big. Maybe we'll use something like this. It's a little smaller. I like that one better. And so tons of little doily bits are also in the Etsy, but let's go ahead and use this little cluster right here. And so for the fabric clusters, I am going to use Fabri-Tac. Everything, all paper was glued down with art glitter, all paper. And then this is Fabri-Tac, and this is what I use for the fabric doilies. And I'm just going to put a tiny little bit up here at this doily, and that's going to cover up my staples. And it just, the stapling allows me to use less Fabri-Tac. The Fabri-Tac does add some bulk to your journal, so just, you know, be aware of that. And then I add a little Fabri-Tac up here at the top, and that's what sticks it to the page. And then it's going to go right up here at the top, right there. Kind of straighten it out, and that's where that goes. And so now we have some nice little page embellishments. We've done, you know, little fabric-y one back here. I liked the gold on top of that one, on top of my eyelet. But, you know, the person working in this journal, if they want to take a snip off of this and make this smaller and use some of it, they can. And then for our paper ones, we did this one here. And truthfully, it does need like a little number or a little embellishment. I don't know if I can find a number quick enough, but let me see if I can. How about this number? Well, it's just a little label. Well, we could just put something like that across here. One more little piece and I'm happy with that one. But then the other one we did is right here, and I am happy with that one. I think it's super cute. You could add postage stamps. Like if I could find a postage stamp quick, that would be also another good idea right there. I don't think I will be able to find one in time, but continue to embellish your pages as you work through the journal. We did 3 top embellishments through this section, and we're adding that bulk to the top part of our pages. You're not going to write up there in this very top part. For the most part, it's not hindering you writing, but it is helping to bulk up this top section because our bottom section is full of pockets. If you look this way, this is what I'm talking about bulk. See how these pages come together? And these pages are very thick apart, like they're much thicker. And these ones I can completely squish like together without the lace there. So you're just kind of bulking out the top and making it even. Super cute. I hope you guys liked this video, and I will be back for another video showing you a different way to go through and embellish your pages here in just a minute. Thanks guys. Have a great day.